Welcome to the Early Morning Light Podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Early, and on this podcast, we share life-changing tips, tools, information, motivation, and inspiration to bring light to your life as you tune in week after week to the Early Morning Light Podcast. We're so glad you joined us today. In this episode, I'm going to talk about that dreaded comfort zone. That's right, that area in our lives that we've all existed in that has been so limiting. That's right, the comfort zone. Someone once said, I think it was Robert Allen, he said, everything that you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. Let me say that again. Everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. All of your dreams, your goals, those things that are important to you that you want to get out of life are right on the other side. But for some reason, we let that comfort zone stop us from reaching outside of that zone and achieving far beyond what the comfort zone promises us. We've all done it. I've had many situations in my life where I have allowed the comfort zone to prevent me from taking a step that's going to propel my life, my dreams, my goals to another level. I've done it. And I know that most people listening to me today have done the same thing, has been limited by the comfort zone. I once read about the baby elephant and how the baby elephant's trainer will train that elephant from birth to be confined in a very small space. And they'll tie its legs with a rope and tie it to a wooden post that is planted deep in the ground. This confines the baby elephant to a predetermined length of the rope that he can't go any further. That elephant's comfort zone. And even though that elephant will grow bigger and bigger and bigger, upwards of 5 tons in weight and size, it will stay on that length of the rope because it doesn't believe that it can extend outside of that rope and exist outside of that rope and be safe outside of that rope. So he stays. And many of us, if we're really going to be honest, we have done the same thing with our goals. We have our rope that we're tied to that is down in the ground, very deep, and we'll only go as far as that rope will let us. And then we come back. We come back to what's comfortable. We come back to what is familiar. When on the other side, if we were just to keep going, that rope would lift out of the ground and we could move towards some things that are bigger and better and more purposeful for what we want for our lives. So let's make today the day that we stop being limited by that dreaded comfort zone. I know we all want it. We just have to believe that we can extend beyond that comfort zone and do some things that are bigger than what we currently believe we're capable of doing. So this is what I believe. This is how we can do this. Number one is if we're going to get out of that comfort zone, we have to, first of all, make a decision that we are going to be bolder in how we live our life. We're going to live life boldly. And that means not being limited by those thoughts, those beliefs that we have about ourselves, by those fears. I believe that one of the things that really gets in the way for most of us is the fear, which someone once said, fear is false evidence appearing real. We don't have to accept every thought that we have that causes fear. We don't have to accept those thoughts that say, hey, you can't do this because you're not smart enough. You can't do this because you don't know anything about what's on the other side of that comfort zone. You could never do that. You don't know what to do. You're going to fail if you go outside of the comfort zone. Let's make this the day that we don't accept those thoughts. Yes, they can come and they can go, and we can still exist boldly outside of that comfort zone. The second thing we have to do is we have to know our worth. See, when you know your worth, when you know that you've got some good stuff inside of you, when you know that you are capable beyond what you're currently doing, which is the comfort zone, then you can make decisions knowing that whatever happens, I'm going to figure this thing out. Why? Because it is important to me that I figure it out. It's important to me, and I have what it takes to figure this thing out. And even if I don't succeed the first time when I step outside of my comfort zone, I'm going to learn some things. See, I personally don't believe too much in the concept of failure. Like, I believe we can fail at things, but it doesn't make us a failure. No. Every time you fail, there's an opportunity to learn something. And if you're going outside of your comfort zone to fail, you're doing nothing but growing. So I want us all to begin thinking about, hey, what would it mean for me to know my worth, and knowing my worth in such a way that whatever I have to do, whatever I have to endure in order to step outside of my comfort zone in pursuit of goals and dreams that are important to me, I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to learn along the way, and I'm going to have some success outside of my comfort zone because I know that I came here with some good stuff, that I have developed some good stuff, some skills, some talents, some gifts, some things that I can bring out into the world, out into the marketplace. The other thing that we have to do, and I've kind of alluded to this already, is that we have to control the messages that we accept about ourselves as we're extending outside of the comfort zone. We have to control those messages because that's what's limiting us from being able to go. I believe that elephant is telling itself that, hey, once this rope reaches its end and I feel that tight tug, I'm not supposed to go any further beyond that. I can't go any further. I'm not able to. I must stay within the confines of that rope. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to accept those thoughts. And the reality is, as we've already said, is that everything you want, everything that is important to you is going to be outside of that comfort zone as you move further towards achieving that dream and those goals that you have in your life. So let's make today the day that we begin to be bold, that we begin to know our worth, that we begin to control the thoughts and the beliefs that we are accepting that are coming into our head. And I've talked about this before, but one of the ways to control those things that we are thinking about that are limiting for us, those we call them the limiting beliefs in the psychology world, is that we've got to feed our mind with more positive self-affirmation, more positive thoughts that I am capable of existing outside of the comfort zone and achieving outside of the comfort zone. I am someone with worth. I am someone who can achieve far beyond what I've done so far. And even if I don't succeed right away, I'm going to learn some things along the way that are going to benefit me as I continue to move outside of the comfort zone. I can be okay. I will be okay. I will succeed at whatever that thing is that I'm pursuing in the moment. And the last piece that I believe is key, is crucial to us being able to get outside of that comfort zone and to make these things happen, is that we have to believe in ourselves. Just utmost belief in you. And to close, I will say, there is a quote that someone shared with me years ago on belief that I share when I'm in front of most audiences that to me spoke to me. And this was delivered to me, or I received it at a time when I was starting to lose belief in myself. It was my freshman year of college. I was at a pretty prestigious, as it were, college, liberal arts school in Indiana, Wabash College. And I remember that second day of class, I was sitting in class. It was Ancient Greek and French Baroque Theater. That was the title of the class. Now, I'm from the city of Indianapolis. We were not reading French and Baroque theater where I came from. So I remember sitting in that class and I'm listening to the professor. It was I think he may have been a Rhodes Scholar professor. There was 8 or 9 students around the table. And I remember vividly, we're reading or discussing the reading from the night before. And I had no idea what they were talking about. I had done the reading, but I had no idea what they were discussing because I wasn't used to reading ancient Greek and French Baroque theater or anything like that. So I remember as I'm leaving that classroom that day, I was losing belief. And I was thinking of ways that I could retreat back into my comfort zone. And I got to my dorm room that day, and I remember vividly. I was flipping through this magazine. I think it was a car magazine or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but as I'm flipping through, there was an ad, and next to the ad there was a poem that, in my opinion, changed my life at that point. I was thinking at that point, I don't know if I can make it here. I'm gonna go home and maybe go to the community college and make that my path. But I remember I started reading that quote, and I'll share this with you, this poem, because it changed my life. And my hope is that this will be something that will be helpful for you as you begin to exist outside of your comfort zone. This is what the poem said. It said, "Believe in yourself and your dream. Though impossible, it may seem. Someday, somehow, you will get through to the goal that you have in view. Believe in yourself and your plan. Say not, I cannot, but say, I can. The prizes of life we fail to win because we doubt the power within." I remember as I read that, I took that magazine, I folded it up, and I just kind of flipped it on the table. And I remember the power I felt at that moment. I remember saying to myself, I can do this. And those are those moments. Those are the moments that will allow you to begin to branch outside of your comfort zone and trust that, number one, you can be okay. You can exist outside of the comfort zone. You can be bold in how you go about your life outside of the comfort zone. You can know your worth and live life as if you have some good stuff to bring to this world. You can control the messages that you have that are telling you that you're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be achieving outside of this comfort zone. So let's make today the day that we begin to be bold and live outside of the comfort zone. I look forward to hearing and reading about some of the things that you guys are going to be doing as you live outside of the comfort zone. This is Tracy Early. Thanks for tuning in. Please like this podcast on all the platforms and stay tuned for further episodes of the Early Morning Light podcast.